In light of Biden's visit to Israel and now cancelled planned visit to Gaza, we see the peculiarity of the President of the United States being sent into effectively a war zone. Do they plan to have him be assassinated by Hamas as part of a casus belli for the USA to then set boots on the ground? In other news, Israel is bombing civilian targets in Gaza, or supposedly that is the media narrative, specifically hospitals, and besieging the entire state, cutting off all water, supplies and energy to the area. Israel have claimed they have instructed the Palestinians of Gaza, not affiliated with Hamas, to evacuate. But to where do they go? Israel has closed the border, and so has Egypt. Thus the Palestinians are now trapped in a kill zone, and Israel, by their instruction not being heeded, will be narratively justified through the media in this Holocaust of the Palestinians. Moreover, there are tensions rising in the north, near Lebanon, of which both Hamas and Hezbollah are controlled by Israel as a means of procuring casus bellis against their neighbours on the deceptively framed grounds of defence. And this will further escalate the conflict and geopolitical deterioration in the region of the Levant and wider Middle East. Given that most of the Arab leaders are de facto dictators, some of them have little to no legitimacy at this point, and thus with the Ummah and general Arab populace soon to be calling for retaliation against Israel, then these said Arab leaders will have to either act in a retaliatory manner or face being deposed by their own populace, whom shall put in place a Caesar figure who will implement a retaliatory approach against Israel. Hence, this further escalates the conflict. Whatever occurs, given the geostrategic nature of this region and the resources up for grabs, if the Saudis and other Arab nations begin to move more firmly within the orbit of BRICS, and given the USA's desperate need for a war to prop up their rapidly decaying debt-based fiat system, well, not theirs, but of course the Asiatic cliques, then the USA will enter this coming war and bring NATO in with them. This war will be coupled with the war against Russia in Ukraine. Thus, what shall emerge is a global conflict, a true war to end all wars scenario again. If the USA strike the Middle East directly, being bogged down in the defence of Israel, though indirectly expanding Israel's borders and influence in the region, then China may see this as an opportunity to strike Taiwan, and thus we have a third front that shall open up within this global war, a Pacific theatre. So you shall have the European theatre, the Middle Eastern theatre, and the soon-to-be Pacific theatre, which will be primarily naval-based, right? Naval-based battles, at least in the beginning of the war. Such an unopposed invasion of Taiwan and de facto state of war between China and the US would cause an irreparable imbalance in trade and within the Western economy, that the West, already currently at the breaking point societally, will begin to unravel, and the population of the West, both native and foreigner, will devour these nation-states, and a geopolitically unstable and factionalised patchwork of competing interests will take total hold of the once great West. The sun shall set on it completely, and in its dark winter, amidst its onset, shall it be robbed thoroughly of that dream of modernity that it was held within the stupefying orbit of. The blue-haired woke wannabes shall taste of the sundering principle of nature, and they shall be cleansed in the wake of the coming planned chaos. As Netanyahu said of Hamas and Hezbollah, quote, "Those who want to thwart the establishment of a Palestinian state should support the strengthening of Hamas and the transfer of money to Hamas," unquote. He stated at the Likud party meeting in March 2019, quote, "This is part of our strategy," unquote. This will all lead to World War III. It is an inevitability at this point. May we all stand unshaken amongst a crashing world. May we be cleansed from our immersions into the deep water, where we have been held in isolation our whole life, and have only known the respite of our own thoughts. May we swim above the tenebrous tides that seek to smother us, and see the light of the truth, which is beyond the watery veil of illusion. The world they have built is coming undone, and the Pax Cabalica is ending, even though it may seem to the contrary. But their plans of planned global chaos, leading to a new world dominion, will falter at the seams and collapse. This will be a repeat of the previous ancient Great Resets.